Mae West. Mae West, the queen of double entendres and unapologetic confidence, had a diet as unconventional as her persona. Known for her hourglass figure, she indulged in rich, calorie-dense meals like creamed chicken on buttered toast and lobster Newburg. Yet she maintained her shape with a secret weapon: custom corsets that cinched her waist to extremes. Her dietary habits extended beyond food. West was a staunch believer in daily coffee enemas, a practice she claimed kept her youthful and vibrant. This wasn't just a passing fad for her, it was a ritual she swore by, even as it baffled those around her. She also had a peculiar fondness for bananas, which she believed were a natural energy booster, often eating them before her performances. Behind the glamour, her dietary quirks revealed a woman obsessed with control over her body, a necessity in an industry that demanded perfection. Mae's habits were a mix of indulgence and discipline, a reflection of her ability to defy societal norms while still adhering to Hollywood's relentless beauty standards. Orson Welles. Orson Welles, the genius behind Citizen Kane, lived as extravagantly as he created. His appetite for food mirrored his appetite for life, lavish, excessive, and unapologetic. Welles was infamous for his love of multi-course meals, often indulging in rich dishes like foie gras, caviar, and roast duck, paired with fine wines. Yet his indulgence came at a cost. Struggling with his weight throughout his life, he frequently turned to extreme crash diets to shed pounds quickly. One of his most bizarre attempts involved a liquid-only diet of orange juice and boiled eggs, a regimen that left him weak but determined to meet Hollywood's demands. Despite his struggles, Welles never abandoned his love for food. He was known to host elaborate dinner parties where the meals were as theatrical as his films. His relationship with food was a paradox, both a source of joy and a constant battle. Orson's dietary habits were a reflection of his larger-than-life personality, a man who lived on the edge of brilliance and excess. Marlene Dietrich. Marlene Dietrich, the epitome of glamour and sophistication, had a diet that was as meticulously curated as her public image. She was a devoted fan of liverwurst and potatoes, a humble combination that she described as her ultimate comfort food. Yet her indulgences didn't stop there. Dietrich had a peculiar fondness for hot dogs, which she paired with champagne, a pairing that became her signature at Hollywood parties. Her obsession with control extended to her kitchen, where she was known to give precise instructions on how her meals should be prepared. She even carried her own spices and condiments when traveling, ensuring that her food met her exacting standards. Her dietary habits weren't just about taste, they were about maintaining her iconic figure. She often ate sparingly, relying on small portions of protein and vegetables to keep her weight in check. Her relationship with food was a balancing act between indulgence and discipline, a reflection of her ability to navigate the pressures of fame with calculated precision. Judy Garland. Judy Garland's diet was not a choice, but a mandate imposed by the relentless demands of MGM Studios. From a young age, she was placed on a strict regimen of chicken soup, black coffee, and cigarettes to maintain her weight. Studio executives monitored her meals, ensuring she adhered to their impossible standards. To suppress her appetite and keep her energy high during grueling filming schedules, she was given amphetamines, a practice that would have devastating long-term effects on her health. Garland's relationship with food was fraught with tension. She often craved the freedom to eat what she wanted, but was constantly reminded of the consequences. Her favorite indulgence was chocolate ice cream, a rare treat she allowed herself when she could escape the watchful eyes of the studio. Behind the scenes, her dietary restrictions were a reflection of the darker side of Hollywood's golden age, where stars were treated as commodities rather than people. Judy's story is a haunting reminder of the cost of fame, where even something as basic as food became a battleground for control. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow, the original blonde bombshell, was as much a product of Hollywood's beauty machine as she was a victim of its demands. Her diet was a reflection of the era's obsession with extreme thinness. Harlow adhered to what she called her tomato diet, which consisted of eating 2 tomatoes and drinking black coffee for both lunch and dinner. This wasn't a passing phase. It was a strict regimen she followed to maintain her iconic figure. Breakfast was no better, often limited to black coffee and orange juice, with the occasional hard-boiled egg. Behind the glamour, her eating habits revealed a woman under immense pressure to conform to the studio's expectations. Harlow also had a peculiar fondness for celery stuffed with shrimp, a dish she often prepared herself, blending mayonnaise and shrimp into a paste. Her diet was not just about weight. It was about control in a world where she had little of it. Jean's eating habits were a stark reminder of the sacrifices demanded by Hollywood's golden age, where beauty was currency, and individuality was often erased in favor of perfection. James Dean. James Dean, the brooding star of Rebel Without a Cause, had a diet as unpredictable as his personality. Known for his rebellious nature, Dean's eating habits were erratic and unconventional. He was infamous for eating raw onions like apples, a habit that shocked those around him. This wasn't a quirky indulgence, it was a reflection of his disregard for societal norms. Dean also had a deep love for fast food, often indulging in hamburgers and milkshakes late at night. Yet his relationship with food was far from consistent. He frequently skipped meals, relying instead on coffee and cigarettes to sustain him during long days on set. At times, he experimented with vegetarianism, inspired by his interest in Eastern philosophy, though this was more of a passing phase than a lifestyle. Dean's eating habits were a window into his restless mind, a man who lived on the edge of convention and chaos. His diet wasn't just about sustenance, it was an extension of his identity, a mix of rebellion and introspection that defined his short but unforgettable life. Greta Garbo. Greta Garbo, the enigmatic star who famously wanted to be left alone, had a diet that was as mysterious as her persona. She was a devoted follower of Gaylord Hauser, a Hollywood diet guru who preached the benefits of wonder foods like brewer's yeast, wheat germ, and molasses. Garbo took his advice to heart, incorporating these ingredients into her daily meals. She was also one of the first Hollywood stars to embrace juicing, owning a state-of-the-art juicer that she used to create vegetable blends long before it became trendy. Greta's eating habits often bordered on the extreme. Garbo would go through phases of eating only one type of food for weeks at a time: spinach, carrots, or even celery. This wasn't just about health. It was about maintaining her iconic figure and staying ahead of Hollywood's relentless beauty standards. Garbo's diet was a reflection of her need for control, a way to navigate the pressures of fame while staying true to her private, introspective nature. Her eating habits were as unconventional as the woman herself, a mix of discipline and eccentricity that defined her life both on and off the screen. Clara Bow. Clara Bow, the it girl of the 1920s, was a symbol of the flapper era's carefree spirit, but her diet told a different story. Behind her vivacious public image was a woman under constant scrutiny to maintain her weight. She was contractually obligated to stay under 118 pounds, a demand that led her to adopt extreme eating habits. Her diet often consisted of boiled eggs and spinach, which she ate at nearly every meal. This wasn't a choice, it was a necessity to meet the studio's rigid expectations. Bow's relationship with food was complicated. She craved the freedom to indulge, but was constantly reminded of the consequences. Her extreme dieting took a toll on her physical and mental health, leaving her exhausted and vulnerable. Despite her struggles, she occasionally allowed herself small indulgences like chocolate or ice cream, though these moments were rare. Clara's eating habits were a reflection of the darker side of Hollywood's golden age, where stars were treated as commodities and individuality was sacrificed for the sake of an image. Clara's story is a poignant reminder of the cost of fame in an era that demanded perfection at any price. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, the ultimate symbol of glamour and sensuality, had a diet that was as unconventional as her public persona. Her mornings began with a peculiar ritual. She would warm a glass of milk, crack 2 raw eggs into it, and drink the mixture as her breakfast. She described this as nourishing, a reflection of her belief in simplicity over extravagance. For dinner, Monroe often opted for hearty meals like steak, lamb chops, or liver paired with raw carrots. Yet her eating habits weren't entirely disciplined. She had a well-documented love for hot fudge sundaes, which she indulged in regularly despite the pressures to maintain her iconic figure. Monroe's approach to food was a mix of practicality and indulgence, a reflection of her down-to-earth nature hidden beneath the Hollywood spotlight. Marilyn was also one of the first actresses to incorporate weightlifting into her fitness routine, a practice that was almost unheard of for women in the 1950s. Her diet and exercise habits revealed a woman who was both ahead of her time and deeply human, balancing the demands of fame with her own personal quirks. Gloria Swanson. Gloria Swanson, the silent film star who later became the face of Sunset Boulevard, was a pioneer of the health food movement in Hollywood. Long before organic eating became mainstream, Swanson was advocating for a diet free of sugar, white flour, and processed foods. She followed a macrobiotic-inspired regimen, focusing on whole grains, vegetables, and fermented foods. Swanson was so committed to her dietary beliefs that she often carried her own food to restaurants and film sets, refusing to eat anything that didn't meet her strict standards. Her meals were meticulously planned, often including salads with homemade dressings and fresh juices. Swanson's dedication to health extended beyond her own plate. She wrote extensively about her diet and even inspired others in Hollywood to adopt healthier lifestyles. Yet her eating habits weren't without their eccentricities. She was known to eat raw vegetables as snacks, often munching on celery or carrots during breaks on set. Swanson's diet wasn't just about health. It was a statement of independence in an industry that demanded conformity. Gloria's approach to food was a reflection of her determination to control her own narrative, both on and off the screen. Katharine Hepburn. Katharine Hepburn, the fiercely independent star of The Philadelphia Story and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, had a diet that reflected her no-nonsense personality. She was a devoted fan of peanut butter, often eating it straight from the jar with a spoon. Hepburn's breakfast was equally unconventional. She frequently ate steak and eggs, a high-protein meal that fueled her active lifestyle. She avoided alcohol and sugary foods, claiming they made her feel sluggish and interfered with her work. Hepburn's eating habits were practical and unpretentious, a stark contrast to the elaborate diets of many of her contemporaries. She also had a passion for baking and was known to make her own bread, which she often shared with friends and co-stars. Her diet wasn't about adhering to Hollywood's beauty standards. It was about maintaining her energy and independence. Hepburn's approach to food was a reflection of her larger philosophy on life, simple, straightforward, and entirely her own. Her eating habits revealed a woman who refused to conform, choosing instead to live on her own terms in an industry that often demanded otherwise. Carole Lombard. Carole Lombard, the queen of screwball comedies, was as health-conscious as she was glamorous. She was an early advocate of raw food diets, often eating uncooked fruits, vegetables, and nuts to maintain her figure. Lombard believed in the power of detoxing and would fast for several days at a time to cleanse her body, a practice that was considered extreme even by Hollywood standards. Her daily meals were simple yet unconventional. She frequently drank a mixture of lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and water, a precursor to modern detox drinks. Lombard avoided processed foods and was one of the first stars to promote organic eating, long before it became a trend. Despite her strict habits, she occasionally indulged in her favorite treat, chocolate-covered almonds, which she kept hidden in her dressing room. Lombard's diet wasn't just about beauty. It was about discipline and control in an industry that demanded perfection. Carole's eating habits were a reflection of her determination to stay ahead of the curve, both in her career and her personal life. Carole's approach to food was as innovative as her performances, a testament to her forward-thinking nature. Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth, the sultry star of Gilda, was a symbol of Hollywood's golden age, but her diet revealed the lengths she went to maintain her image. Hayworth was known for her strict eating habits, which often included a daily intake of boiled eggs and vegetables. She avoided heavy meals, opting instead for small portions of lean protein and greens to keep her figure camera-ready. Yet her beauty routine extended beyond food. Hayworth famously rinsed her hair with a mixture of oil and lemon juice to maintain its iconic shine, a practice that became as much a part of her regimen as her diet. Despite her discipline, she had a weakness for Spanish cuisine, a nod to her father's heritage. Her favorite indulgence was paella, which she enjoyed on rare occasions when she allowed herself to relax. Hayworth's relationship with food was a balancing act between indulgence and the relentless demands of Hollywood. Her diet wasn't just about staying thin, it was about preserving the image of perfection that the studios had crafted for her. Behind the glamour, her eating habits revealed a woman navigating the pressures of fame with quiet determination. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor, one of the most celebrated actresses of the 20th century, had a diet as dramatic as her life. Known for her love of food, Taylor often indulged in hearty meals that defied Hollywood's obsession with thinness. Her favorite dish was fried chicken, which she paired with mashed potatoes and gravy, a meal she enjoyed unapologetically. Yet Taylor's eating habits weren't without their quirks. She was known to mix peanut butter with bacon and eat it on toast, a combination that baffled even her closest friends. Despite her love for rich foods, Taylor was no stranger to dieting. She frequently turned to crash diets to lose weight for roles, including a regimen that involved eating steak and peanut butter for days at a time. Her relationship with food was a reflection of her larger-than-life personality, a mix of indulgence and discipline that mirrored the highs and lows of her career. Taylor's eating habits were as complex as the woman herself, a blend of extravagance and practicality that defied Hollywood's rigid standards. Lana Turner. Lana Turner, the sweater girl who captivated audiences in films like The Postman Always Rings Twice, had a diet that was as carefully managed as her public image. Turner was known for her love of grapefruit, which she ate religiously as part of the Hollywood diet, a fad that promised rapid weight loss through the consumption of the fruit at every meal. Her diet often consisted of little more than grapefruit, black coffee, and small portions of protein, a regimen that left her perpetually hungry but camera-ready. Yet Turner's eating habits weren't entirely about discipline. She had a secret love for hamburgers, which she occasionally indulged in late at night, away from the prying eyes of studio executives. Her relationship with food was a constant battle between the demands of her career and her personal cravings. Turner's diet was a reflection of the pressures faced by actresses in Hollywood's golden age, where beauty was currency and perfection was non-negotiable. Her eating habits revealed a woman striving to balance the expectations of fame with her own desires, a struggle that defined much of her life. Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire, the legendary dancer and star of films like Top Hat and Swing Time, had a diet that was as disciplined as his footwork. Known for his lean frame and boundless energy, Astaire followed a strict eating regimen to maintain his physique. He often ate small, simple meals, favoring chicken, fish, and vegetables over heavier fare. Breakfast was usually a light affair, consisting of toast and tea, while lunch and dinner were carefully portioned to avoid overeating. Yet Astaire's diet wasn't entirely without indulgence. He had a well-documented sweet tooth and was particularly fond of chocolate, which he allowed himself in moderation. His eating habits were a reflection of his work ethic, precise, controlled, and focused on performance. Astaire also avoided alcohol, believing it would interfere with his stamina and coordination. His relationship with food was practical rather than emotional, a means to fuel his demanding career rather than a source of pleasure. Astaire's diet was a testament to his dedication to his craft, a man who understood that every detail, even what he ate, contributed to his success on screen and stage. Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr, the Austrian-born actress and inventor, was as meticulous about her diet as she was about her groundbreaking work in technology. Known for her stunning beauty, Lamarr followed a strict eating regimen to maintain her flawless appearance. She was a firm believer in the power of hydration and reportedly drank up to a gallon of water daily, convinced it was the secret to her radiant skin. Her meals were simple yet precise. She often ate small portions of lean protein such as chicken or fish paired with steamed vegetables. Lamar also had a peculiar habit of eating papaya regularly, believing it aided digestion and kept her figure trim. Despite her discipline, she had a weakness for Viennese pastries, a nostalgic indulgence that reminded her of her European roots. Lamar's approach to food wasn't just about beauty. It was about control in a life that often felt chaotic. Her eating habits reflected her perfectionist nature, a woman who demanded excellence not only in her career but in every aspect of her life. Hetty's diet was a testament to her determination to remain a step ahead, both in Hollywood and in her personal pursuits. Ethel Barrymore. Ethel Barrymore, the matriarch of one of Hollywood's most famous acting dynasties, had a diet that reflected her old-world sensibilities. Unlike many of her contemporaries, Barrymore was not obsessed with extreme dieting or fads. Instead, she preferred hearty traditional meals that reminded her of her New England upbringing. She was particularly fond of roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, a dish she often requested during her travels. Yet Barrymore's eating habits weren't without their quirks. She had a peculiar fondness for pickled vegetables, which she claimed helped her maintain her energy during long days on stage and screen. Barrymore also believed in the power of tea, drinking several cups a day and often pairing it with simple biscuits. Her diet was less about maintaining a figure and more about sustaining her stamina for her demanding career. Ethel's approach to food was a reflection of her practicality and resilience, a woman who valued substance over superficiality. Her eating habits revealed a star who remained grounded despite the pressures of fame, a rarity in the glittering world of Hollywood's golden age. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford, the fiercely ambitious star of Mildred Pierce, had a diet that was as disciplined as her work ethic. Crawford was known for her obsession with cleanliness, and this extended to her eating habits. She began each day with a glass of hot water and lemon, a ritual she believed detoxified her body and prepared her for the day ahead. Her meals were meticulously planned, often consisting of lean protein, steamed vegetables, and small portions of fruit. Crawford avoided sugar and processed foods, convinced they would ruin her complexion. Yet her diet wasn't entirely without indulgence. She had a well-documented love for rare steak, which she paired with a simple green salad. Crawford also had a peculiar habit of eating raw vegetables as snacks, often carrying celery sticks or carrots in her handbag. Her relationship with food was a reflection of her relentless drive for perfection, both on and off the screen. Joan's eating habits revealed a woman who was as disciplined in her personal life as she was in her career, a star who understood that every detail mattered in the pursuit of success. Vivien Leigh. Vivien Leigh, the luminous star of Gone with the Wind, had a diet that was as complex as her personality. Known for her delicate beauty, Leigh followed a strict eating regimen to maintain her ethereal appearance. She often ate small, carefully portioned meals, favoring simple dishes like poached fish and steamed vegetables. Breakfast was usually a light affair, consisting of tea and toast, while dinner was equally modest. Yet Leigh's eating habits weren't entirely about discipline. She had a fondness for rich desserts, particularly chocolate soufflé, which she allowed herself on special occasions. Her relationship with food was complicated by her struggles with mental and physical health, which often left her with little appetite. Despite this, Leigh was known to host elaborate dinner parties, where she served gourmet meals to her guests while eating sparingly herself. Her diet was a reflection of the pressures she faced as one of Hollywood's most celebrated actresses, a woman who was constantly striving to meet the impossible standards of fame. Vivien's eating habits revealed a star who balanced indulgence with restraint, a poignant reminder of the sacrifices demanded by her career. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment. Also, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get notified of our new videos each week. Thanks for watching.